All right, children, this is your favorite Sunday school teacher, K. Edward Copeland, coming to you through the facilities of New Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Rockford, Illinois. Today is the day that the Lord has made. We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. For those of you who will be watching this later on in the day, later on in the week, we bless you in the name of the Lord, and we're going to invite you, along with those who are coming in live, to interact with us in the comment section, to let us, to hit the hearts and likes and all those types of things. Get us bumped up in the algorithm. You don't need any more shoes, so let's get those pop-up ads out and hit the hearts and likes so we'll come up more in your screen. We're looking forward to a great day of worship today here at New Zion. And as always, we want you, as you come into this digital space, we want you to check in with yourself and then check in with us. That is to say, let us know in a word or a phrase how you're doing today, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Use your words to assess and identify exactly where you are, even physically. Type that in, and then after you type that in, we want you to type in the top 3 things that you're most grateful to God for today. I'm grateful to God, what did I say? That I can cheese and chomp. I can smile and eat now. Because children, oh my gosh, it was a rough couple of weeks there. But by God's grace, here I yet stand. I want to thank him. I had the privilege of participating in a preaching conference in Chicago this past week, and he gave us great openings, heard some great preaching, and was able to say my little Easter speech without stumbling. And so I appreciate the prayers of the saints. Grateful, got to see my mother. What day was that? Friday, I think it was. And so saw that she's doing well, family's doing well, ain't got no complaints. I'm grateful to God just for this season of recalibration. And that's really what I'm going to get at today. We're getting ready to, for the last few weeks, I've been sharing some personal devotional reflections, and I'm going to do that today and next week in preparation for a little series we're going to do in September as we do a hard reset, a recalibration, sort of a fall, sort of a fall reset, a fall sort of, for lack of a better word, relaunch as we get ready for the last couple of quarters here in the year. I'm waiting for everybody to go ahead and check in. As you're coming into this digital space this morning, go ahead and check in. Let us know how you're doing today. In a word or phrase, where are you mentally, emotionally, spiritually? And then the top 3 things that you're most grateful for. This summer has gone by quick. Today is what, August the 18th? Yesterday was July the 4th. Tomorrow gonna be Labor Day. What's in the fall? Is it Labor Day? Yeah, tomorrow gonna be Labor Day. That's what it's gonna feel like. I told y'all, once July the 4th hits, it's a wrap. Summer's over. It's always, you blink, it's August. It's August the 18th. So what we're gonna do is get you set up here with this lesson today. Today, I'm going to, I don't know if I already put it in, but we're gonna talk about routines, rituals, and ruts. I want to share some personal devotional reflections, give you some scriptures that I've had to work through and are continuing to work through for your edification and for your progress in the Lord. Still waiting on you to type in the top 3 things you're most grateful for. Go ahead and type that in as we get ready. Now, last week, we were talking about beneath the surface. Oh my gosh. It's not the cavities that always get you. Sometimes it's the cracks. It's the things that allow unseen infections to set up. It's, yeah, you smiling, you teasing, ching, that's what they do on the commercials. Somebody smiling and they get sparkle, ching, you just a smiling. Okay, that's good. But what's happening beneath the surface? See, that's why the dentists tell us, okay, yeah, you gotta brush, but you gotta what? Floss. Why they tell you to floss? Well, flossing helps to get that bacteria and this and that and other that's beneath the surface. And flossing, good dental hygiene includes flossing, because your dental hygiene, particularly as it relates to your gums and all that kind of stuff, is related to your heart health. You fool around and get some raggedy stuff going on with your gum, your heart gonna be messed up, man. So that's with good dental hygiene. What about with good mental hygiene? Well, with good mental hygiene, you gotta attend to what's going on, wait a minute, beneath the surface. Not just what's happening up top. You say, well, I ain't got no cavities. Yeah, but you got a crack. And trust me, I ain't talking about what I read now, I'm talking about what I know. A crack in a tooth, a crack in a 2-ounce tooth will have a 200-pound joker laying out hollering. I know, I'm that one. I told you, I got tickled myself because it's so true. Moaning like an old Mississippi woman with gout and 13 children, youngest one in jail. We get ready to put the house up for his bond. That's how I was praying that moment. Why was I doing that? Because something had happened beneath the surface because of a crack, an imperceivable crack in my tooth. What about the cracks in my character? That's what I've been praying about this week. All this week I've been praying. I said, okay, well, Lord, where are the cracks? Yeah, there might even be a cavity, but that's easily seen. I need you to put me in your x-ray machine. Search me, oh God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. See if there be any wicked way in me. Teach me your way, O Lord, and I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. I will give you thanks, O Lord my God, with all my heart. I'll praise your name forever and ever. God, I need you to point out and to show me. And man, I promise he did. And I'll share some more things about what he showed me even next week. Because even literally, but since yesterday, he showed me something I've been praying all week. And then in my sleep, and when I woke up this morning and was having devotion, he revealed to me, okay, so this is where that crack is right here. I'm like, okay, now that makes sense. That's where I need to pray. That's that character defaulter. That's that bad teaching that I've imbibed that has kept me in a, wait a minute, this is what I want to get at, has kept me in a spiritual rut. So today, y'all in here, let's see if we can get at this thing. Let me make sure the technology is as it needs to be so we can keep going. Those of you who are coming in right now, we still need you to check into class by telling us how you're doing and then typing in the top 3 things that you're most grateful for. So here's what I want to get at today, and let me sort of lay it out, and then we're going to go straight to scriptures today, and then see if we can't give you some tools or some resources to help you. So talking about routines, rituals, and ruts. And really what I want to get at is if you don't periodically assess or audit and then reset your routines, then you might get into a rut. Listen again. During every season of life, you need to do an audit. You need to assess. And then you need to reset your routines, the things you habitually do, the things that you do on a daily basis. Otherwise, if you're not careful, the routine that you have might not be serving you in the way that you think it ought to serve you. And a routine might wind up being either benign or malignant. That is, it might wind up where the routine isn't hurting you, but it's not getting you what it was designed to get you. Here's what I mean by that. Say you decide to work out. You say, well, you know what? The doctor says that I need to get my heart health together, or I need to lose some weight, or I'm not as flexible as I need to do. I'm getting older, and as I've looked at the studies and watched personally, a lot of times older people get into serious trouble when they fall. That is to say, one of the predictors, once you get a certain age, one of the predictors of how much longer you're going to live is how many times you have fallen in the last year or so. Too many falls, and regardless of whatever else is going on, then you might be on your way out. And so as I look at that, I say, okay, well, I need to work on my balance, work on my strength, all this kind of stuff. Okay, that's good. So what routine, this is what I'm trying to talk about. What routine what are the habits? What am I doing on a daily basis? What is my rule of life, my routine, the things I customarily do? What am I doing to help me achieve those goals? So if I say, well, okay, well, I'm just going to go walk. I heard a preacher say that I need to walk. And if I just walk on a regular basis, then that will help me with my heart health. That'll help me lose some weight. That'll clear my mind, all those types. That's right. That's good. But here's what I'm saying. You got to periodically assess. You got to do an audit. You got to look at, okay, now, is this routine getting me what I am desiring, or do I need to reset the routine? So if you start out and say, well, okay, I'm going to walk around the block every day. That's a good routine. And now, after a while, you need to assess that. Say, okay, now I've been walking around the block, and I feel a little bit better, but I'm not really losing any weight. Well, you've been walking for 15 minutes. How about you walk for 30? You see what I'm saying? Now, here's what I'm talking about. You got a routine. I'm gonna walk every day, but then you need to audit it. Say, now, okay, I've been walking 15 minutes. I saw some results. I feel a little bit clearer. Apparently my heart is working a little bit better. But what if I now, since I've gotten adjusted to this amount of exercise, why don't I push myself a little bit further so that I can get closer to my goal? You see? Routines ought to be designed, ought to be crafted in such a way that they're achieving what you want them to achieve. It could be something as simple as when you come home. So here's my routine. When I come home, as soon as I get home, I put the keys in a particular place. I put whatever's in my pocket. If I have some loose change, I put it in a little change jar. I do this. I got about 3 or 4 things that I do every day. Now, why do I do that? Why do I put the keys in a certain place? So I don't be looking for the keys. You got to ask me, well, where the keys at? Where they always are, because I have a routine to help me not have to remember certain things. Because I know that, oh, my keys are here, my wallet's there, I set my shoes over here, da-da-da-da. And so now when it's time to go, I don't have to look, I don't have to think, because the routine is serving me by helping me to save some time. Now, that's with something simple. But what about well, let me give you another simple one, because since we've been talking about it, your daily routine. What do? You brush your teeth every day. Now, why you brush your teeth every day? Well, you don't want to be offensive to other people. Talking about, hi, people running away. But you also want good dental hygiene. You want to hang on to them 2, 3 little teeth that you got, as long as you got them. But wait a minute. You say, okay, my routine is to brush my teeth, but now let me assess this thing as I get older. The doctor said, well, do you ever floss? And now that you've heard the information that I've shared with you as it relates to the relationship between good dental hygiene and heart health, then you assess that thing and say, wait a minute, okay, I know my regular routine is just to brush, just to act like I'm brushing my teeth, just 2 or 3 little things, spit it out, and go about my way. But now, as I get older, my understanding of the importance of good dental hygiene means that I take I think they say you're supposed to brush your teeth for like 2 minutes. I take the time to actually brush every tooth. I'm looking at my teeth. I'm flossing and all that kind of stuff. What have I done? I had a routine, but I've reassessed the routine so I can reset it to get what I'm after. Okay, I think you got the point now. So here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm asking you. Are you in a rut because you keep doing certain things a certain way and it's not serving you? It's not serving you. So I want you to audit and think through some of the things you do on a regular basis. Are they helping you? Now, we're going to get to some things as it relates to how you're using your time, how you engage other people, how you're using your money. But let's think about this thing as it relates to, I gave you 3 words, routines, rituals, and ruts. A rut is something that is a habit that you can't seem to break because you've constantly reinforced that thing. Maybe it started out as a routine, but now it's a rut that you can't get out of. It's a ditch. You know, ditches are formed. You can get a trickle of water. You can get a flow of water down a certain pathway that eventually makes a groove or a rut. Or better yet, have you ever seen, I've seen this in a few different places, where there are sidewalks, but then people start making like a pathway through the grass or through the gravel of a particular area. And now, even though there's a cleaner, clearer path, people are taking that particular rut, that particular way of going. A rut can be also like when tire tracks or tire marks or a pathway becomes so packed down that when you go that way, your wheels automatically sort of just get stuck in that rut. And even though you'd prefer to go a different way, your wheels are stuck in there. Like certain car washes where, have you gone to any of these automatic car washes where you pull in and then they say, okay, now line your wheels up, and then they say, now put it in neutral. Because now that you got in the rut, it will take, you ain't even gotta, you can take your hand off the wheel, you ain't gotta put no gas on it now. Why? Because you done got in that rut, and now it's automatically gonna take you a certain way. Do you know that you can do that with certain patterns of thinking, certain patterns of behavior, certain patterns of relating to other people, where now you're in neutral and you recognize this isn't the best way. I really want to go this way or that way, but now you done got in a rut. A rut. So, for example, let me give you another simple example, and then we're gonna get into the scriptures as it relates to this. I need y'all to pay attention. Let me ask you this. Can you think of, before I move forward, can you think of a place where you have gotten in a rut? You know there's a better way. You know that you shouldn't be doing this. Or maybe it's not like a sin, but it's something that's not serving you. It's not getting you what you want. You come home every night and you eat some ice cream and have some cookies or whatever, but every time you go to the doctor say, now your A1C is getting a little bit high, but you can't, so you go exercise and you go drink plenty of water, you lay your fat head down, but you done got in the rut with that ice cream. Because it's your routine. This is how you're using that sort of as a stress reliever. And now that rut even of itself, ain't nothing wrong with eating some ice cream and cookies, but that rut in your case is not serving you. Because and now, if somebody tell you, some of y'all getting mad with me right now, why you gotta talk about ice cream? If somebody even try to suggest that maybe there's a better, how about you get a piece of fruit? How about you know, try something different? You don't even want to hear that. Why? Because now it's automatic. You just automatically buy ice cream. You got 17 half little cartons of ice cream in the freezer because you done got in a rut when you buy that. Let me give you another example here, that there are some routines that you can instill in your life that will serve you, that you got to reset every now and then, or they become a rut. So I was thinking about this the other day, and let me show you the connection with rituals. So sometimes we have a ritual or a thing that has significance. A ritual is something that you do, and sometimes you can do it on a routine basis, or sometimes you just do it once, but it's something that you do ceremonially or that you do with some sense of solemnity because it points to something else. So a wedding, we talk about the wedding ritual. Well, what are we doing at a wedding? Well, you already have a relationship with somebody, but you're in a ceremony performing certain rituals to point to the greater significance that, okay, I've made a vow, this person is the one I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. I'm forsaking all others, and I'm going to be committed to this person. I'm talking to somebody right now, in sickness and in health, and for richer or for poorer, for better or for worse, until death do us part. And then what do? You say, you may kiss the bride. Okay, cool. Y'all kiss. That's ritual. But watch this. Here's a routine that you need to have. Did you know that for those of you who are married, if you kiss your spouse every day, you'll live longer? There's not even, ain't no debate about that. You can look that up. The actuarial scientists, that is the people who calculate the rates for your life insurance and all that kind of stuff, the neurological scientists and all that kind of stuff. If you kiss your spouse every day, you'll live longer. That's routine. Now, wait a minute. Here's a rut. When you stop kissing. Now, you kiss when you stand at the altar, oh, you looking all starry-eyed. You just, oh, and then, you know, the honeymoon phase and all that kind of stuff. But now you're old and grumpy, and you don't kiss anymore because you done got in a rut. Now watch this. You can reset that thing. You can recalibrate. You say, well, I don't want to kiss. Well, wait a minute. Watch this. Here's what the scientists will also tell you. That if you hug someone, and this is not for married or single, this is just for humans. If you hug somebody that you love or that you feel comfortable with, that you're safe with, you hug somebody for 20 seconds, then there's, what is it, oxytocin? That's not the word. Oxytocin. I think that's the correct word. There's chemicals released in your body that if you hug somebody for 20 seconds or if you kiss them for 6 seconds, it's the same equivalent, that you can, it's a bonding thing. It's the same chemical that is released as babies are bonding with their mother. It's a calming, it's a reassuring, it's a bonding thing. And it ain't sensual, it's not sexual, it's just a human thing that, okay, I'm safe with this person, I love this person, and if you can hug them for 20 seconds. So even if y'all don't kiss no more, you still gotta have some kind of physical contact. Some kind of non-sensual, non-sexual physical contact, because it bonds. And if you're single, it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about sensual or sexual right now. Doggone it, everybody need a hug every now and then. And you need to hug somebody that your friend, the person that your sibling, your relatives, the people that you're safe with. You need to hug them every now and then because that resets. That's a listen carefully. That's a routine that will help you live longer because you can study this out. I'm not a single person who is not married can live as long as a married person, even though they don't have, the same type of physical contact, if they'll take advantage of the physical contact that they do have. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about sensuality. I'm talking about you just need to be safe in another person's embrace. That's a routine. You need a good 6-7 hugs every day, just for your good spiritual and mental health. You see what I'm saying now? So ritual, routine, and rut. Don't get into a rut that is not serving you. Reset that thing to a routine that you can find sustainable. So eat your colors. See, I don't ever say, well, I need you to eat so many calories and I want your macros and do this, y'all ain't gonna do that. But if I say eat your colors, you can sustain that. You can look at your plate and say, man, wait a minute. I ain't got no green, nothing green on here. Okay, that's sustainable. Drink more water. You see, move your body. Lay your fat head down. All of those things are routines that will serve you and that are sustainable. Now let's get some Bible on this thing and see how God thinks about this piece. And let's get at it. Open up your Bible. Let's look at this to Exodus chapter 20. I want you to see how God, another way to think about everything I've been talking about is that God has designed and created everything he's designed and created to work in rhythm. The earth, the moon, stars, and sky, all of that, the reason that there are seasons is God has created everything in rhythm. The earth moves on its axis around the sun. The solar system moves a certain way within the galaxy. The moon moves around the earth in a certain rhythm, and that rhythm dictates the tides and how the water is moving. Because God has made everything, look, children, to work according to a certain rhythm. Now, I'm pointing that out because your routines and your rituals ought to connect to the natural rhythms that God wants us to have. And the ruts that we find ourselves in, even ruts that are not sin, there's some ruts that are sin. There's some ruts that if you keep going that way, it can become sin and it can actually become addiction. Addiction ain't nothing but a rut that has developed over time that has chemical components to it. That dopamine, what's the other can? I shouldn't have opened up the can of worms, started calling out the chemicals and can't remember all of them. But I do know that dopamine and some of these other chemicals that get released. Part of the rut that you get into that causes addiction is there's a diminishing return on certain types of stimuli. And so you get high once, you get high the first time, and then you're chasing after that high. And then you start a routine where you're constantly chasing after it and you never can catch it. Have you opened up your Bible to Exodus chapter 20? Let's look at this. Serotonin, thank you. Thank you, daughter. I knew I had some professionals on this piece. So you got to watch that, children. Now, what did I say? Everything works according to rhythm. Your body has a certain rhythm. Help me with this. Is it called the circadian rhythm? Bottom line is you ought to sleep according to a certain pattern, a certain rhythm. If you can get your routine to get in rhythm, then guess what? You'll be healthier. Some people don't lose weight because they don't get enough sleep. It ain't because you ain't exercising enough. It's not because you eating this, you eating that. It's because you're stressed out in that cortisol. Now here I am again. I know y'all don't want to. I know y'all don't want science lesson. I'm trying to help you. All I'm trying to say, you got to get in rhythm. I want you to type that in. Type it in, make it personal. I need to get in rhythm, and I need a routine that honors God's rhythm. That's all I'm trying to say. You need to sleep according to a particular rhythm. And if the routine that you're using for your sleep, I'm cutting across the field here to get some practical application here. If the routine that you're using isn't helping you, isn't serving you, you're in a rut. And so when it's time to go to bed, you're just sitting up watching TV and letting the TV watch you. You ain't watching nothing in particular. You just scrolling. And then, okay, all that blue light and all this kind of stuff, you can't sleep. You wake up tired and grumpy. You choking the dog, kicking the cat. They give you a Snickers, that don't work at work. You still ain't yourself. Why? Because you ain't got in rhythm. You said, well, I can't get, well, change the routine. Assess the routine. What do I do before I go to bed? I've been working on this. Let me give you this practical thing. So I set my watch, my little Apple Watch. I said, okay, I'm going to put the alarm on at 9:30. At 9:30, I need to shut it down. I need to turn off the TV unless there's something specific. Now, if there's something like, there's a particular news story that I want to make sure that I catch or something like that, I might stay up. But other than that, I'm challenging myself, and I want to challenge you to get in rhythm with my sleep. So I use technology and say, okay, 9:30, my clock starts beeping, my watch starts beeping, the alarm goes off. I say, okay, well, man, let me start shutting this down. I'm gonna put I'm talking about routine and rhythm. Let me put my phone and the charger in this other room, because I have gotten into a rut before this, and sometimes I'm slipping back, and this is why I'm challenging you, because I don't want you to do what I've done. If I have the phone near me, I say, let me check, I forgot to do this. I need to, let me get that. Oh man, I didn't do my Spanish today. I look up, it's 11:30. And I'd have messed up my routine because I'd gotten in a rut fooling with this devilish phone. So I said, oh no, devil, you ain't gonna get me on this one. 9:30, I'm gonna put this phone and the charger in a whole different room. That's why I got the watch. So that, okay, this can monitor my little sleep, monitor my little steps. Is that nothing? I don't have to worry about, well, what time is it? No, you got to go to sleep. And if you need to know the time, it's on your wrist. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so you want to get in rhythm with God. Okay, Exodus chapter 20, look at verse 8 through 11, and let's look at this piece, and then I'm going to show you something as we move forward, a couple other chapters and verses in Exodus. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11 says, remember that, now this is God speaking to the people of Israel. He has brought them out, he's brought them out of bondage. He's brought them to Mount Sinai, and now he's engaging in a covenant, a ritual. This is their wedding ceremony. This is the covenant that he's establishing with them. And he's laying out boundaries. This is very interesting. I need to do a study with you guys on this, how God lays out boundaries for all of his relationships. And he's going to do his part, but we got to do our part. And the boundaries that he lays out speak to now he's brought them, he's redeemed them. He said, now here's how I need you to honor me, how to respect me. Gives them 10 commandments. The first commandment is don't be cheating on me. I am going to do a series on this. If you just read the 10 commandments, your relationships can be better. Because God is instructing us on appropriate boundaries in relationships. He said, look, don't cheat on me. Don't be making no other little guys, bringing them up around here. Don't be worshiping and serving them. Don't misuse my name, my character, but here it is, verse 8 through 11. Now, think about this. Rhythm is one of the 10 commandments, and it makes the top 5 out of the 10. What am I talking about? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days, I'm talking about rhythm, routine, ritual. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male or your female servant, or your cattle or your sojourner who stays with you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Oh my God, we could just lay in right here for the rest of the year. Now, look at what he said. Now, out of all the commandments that he could have made, and he's going to make some more here. Don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't do this, don't do that. In other words, treat other people right. Don't be lying. Don't be, coveting other people's stuff, because that's bad for your mental, emotional, and spiritual hygiene. But he said, look, if you don't do nothing else, remember the Sabbath day. And then he said, I want you to separate that thing, sanctify it. The seventh day belongs to God, and you or anybody in your household, don't let them do any work. Why? Verse 11, because God worked in rhythm, you need to work in rhythm. God, in 6 days, made the heavens and the earth and everything, and then on that seventh day, he rested. Not because he was tired, it's because it was enough. And he said, okay, that's God who don't get tired. If God who does not get tired, has thou not heard the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither grows tired nor is he weary. That's Isaiah chapter 40. If God don't get tired but he rested, what you doing with your fat head just ripping and running and don't never get in rhythm of rest? No. This rhythm is one of the 10 commandments. Yeah. Go at it for 6 days. But on that seventh day, no, it's time to reset, assess, recalibrate, so that you can make sure the routines and rituals that you're engaged in are actually serving you. Sabbath is a weekly reset. Sabbath is a time for recharging and refreshing, for rejuvenating and reflecting on the fact that God has made all of this possible. That's the routine that they were supposed to engage in, the rhythm that they were supposed to engage in. Turn over a page or two to chapter 23 of Exodus. Chapter 23 of Exodus, verse 10 through 13. Are y'all still with me? Yeah. Rhythm is one of the 10 commandments, particularly the rhythm of rest. Now look at what he says in chapter 23, verse 10 through 13. He says that this is God still laying out the boundaries and the commandments that he wants this new collective of people that he's brought out of slavery to create a new nation. This is what he wants them to do. He said, you shall sow your land for 6 years and gather in its yield, but on the seventh year you shall let it rest. This is interesting. You shall let it rest and lay fallow. Why, God? So that the needy of your people may eat. And whatever they leave, the beasts of the field may eat. You are to do the same with your vineyards and with your olive garden. Now let me say something before I move forward with this thing. When we're in rhythm with God's will, when we get in routine with how God wants us to navigate life, not only are we blessed, but we bless the rest of creation. He said, look, don't just keep plowing the land. We know now that you're going to deplete it of all its nutrients and all this kind of stuff. And over time, because you let the routine turn into a rut without any reset, you're not going to get the yield that you want. So here's what I want you to do. For 6 years, you can sow and all that kind of stuff. But on the seventh year, let the land rest. Look at God. Look at how gracious he is. He said, man, the land need a rest. I created the land. Let it rest. Why? A few reasons. Number one, on that seventh year, as you let it lay fallow, that is, you don't plow or sow or whatever, you just let the land rest. Some stuff is going to automatically go up. My garden this year, my little container garden, didn't do nothing. I ain't got a good tomato, got a couple of good peppers and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, cucumbers came out. My little garden didn't do nothing this year, except for, like, watch this. Last year I planted a whole bunch of different herbs. I said, in this one part of the planter, I said, well, I ain't gonna do nothing with that this year. I'll be doggone. That's the part that actually yielded the most. Chives and thyme and this and that and the other. I've been chopping up all of that stuff. He said, look, I need you to let the land, because some stuff is just gonna, if you let it rest, you let it reset, I've created this earth, but some stuff just gonna grow up anyway. And the poor people, the needy people, the people who don't have any resources, now they can have that. Let them have that. And in that way, they can be blessed by your rhythm. Am I reading my Bible right? Look at verse 11. 7th year, you let it rest, life follow, so that, or in order that, for the purpose that, the needy of your people may eat. Ain't God good? If we could just get in this rhythm. He said, now needy people can eat. And whatever they don't eat, I let that be for the animals. Let them eat. But here's the other thing. Not only will the needy people and the animals get to eat, if you let the land rest, when you plow it again, now you'll even have a better harvest, because now all the nutrients haven't been depleted. You've let the land replenish itself, because even the land needs to be reset, recalibrated. That's dirt. How about you? Oh, guess what? You made from dirt. So you need a reset too. Who is it? I can't remember the lady's name. I think it was Anne Lamont Brown or somebody like that. Said that any appliance, I'm paraphrasing it now, anything will work better if you unplug it for a while and then plug it back in, including you. You need to reset. Keep on reading. Verse 12 says, 6 days. Now, he didn't already said this, but he's reiterating it again. 6 days you are to do your work. On the 7th day you shall cease from your labor. Oh, here it is. In order that, so that for the purpose of your ox and your donkey may rest. Have you ever read this? This is revolutionary. Your rhythm affects other people. When your routine gets in a rut, you messing up other people's rest. Let me keep reading, and then I want to make an observation. 6 days you're to do your work, but on the 7th day, cease from your labor, so your ox and donkey may rest, so the son of your female as well as your stranger may refresh themselves. Now, concerning everything that I've said to you, be on your guard, and do not mention the name of other gods or let them be heard from your mouth. Listen to what he's saying. He said, when you don't rest, you making other folk tired. You lay your fat head down. Why? You running the donkey about to have a stroke. The ox getting ready to quit. The servant, what do you say, the female, what did he say? The son of your female slave, the servant, he about to have a heart attack. The stranger, that is the immigrant, the sojourner that is in your midst, all of them need to refresh themselves. Read your Bible, end of verse 12, so that they may refresh themselves. Now think about this. When we were in the pandemic, during the pandemic, certain establishments that were usually open for 24 hours, they were closing at night, like Walmart or various other places. And I thought about that. How did we get to the place where everything shouldn't have to be 24 hours? Why? Let the people rest. The little workers, what do we call them? Essential workers was burning themselves out. That's why some people have quit certain jobs and they ain't never going back. And you can't hardly find people that will work certain things because they got burned out. Why? Because we got to keep going all the time and we don't have any rhythm. Let me give you one more lick on this. And then I got to close out by giving you some practical application here. Look at verse 14. I'm still in Exodus chapter 23. I need you to pay attention to this. And I want you, let me say before I read this, thus far, as we've been talking about routines and rituals and ruts, I need to impress upon your heart that it's not just about you. Your routine impacts other people. And you need to get in rhythm with God and with his word and his will in your life, because when you get in routine, it helps others to get in routine and it helps them to be refreshed. Look at verse 14. I'm still in Exodus 23. I'm gonna hit this lick and I gotta get ready to let y'all go. 3 times a year you should celebrate a feast to me. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you're to eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in it you came out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. Also you shall observe the feast of the harvest, the first fruits of your labor from what you sow in the field. Also the feast of the ingathering, at the end of the year, when you gather in the fruit from your labors of the field. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before me. Now watch this. Aside from the weekly routine, aside from the routine as it relates to how we deal with the earth and all those types of things, God even established a yearly rhythm, a yearly routine. He said, okay, now 3 times a year, I want you to have a feast. Now this is interesting. He could have said, I want you to have a fast, but he said, no, I want you to have a feast to celebrate, verse 14, 3 times a year you shall celebrate a feast to me. Why? It's a ritual. It seems like it's a routine, but it's actually a ritual, something that points to something greater. Like baptism is a ritual. It's not just getting people wet. It's pointing to a deeper spiritual reality. The Lord's Supper is a ritual that we do routinely because of what it points to. It reminds us of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the body that was given on our behalf, the blood that was shed for the remission of our sins. And it's also a ritual that helps to remind us that this is not our final destination, that one day we'll go to the wedding supper of the Lamb. So it's like a preview. These annual feasts here, these rituals, were designed to help them to remember. So I want you to get into a routine and establish some rituals that will always cause you to reflect. Now, we do that here at church, again, like with baptism and Lord's Supper. They did it with a feast. So, okay, 3 times a year, I want you to, first of all, have this feast of unleavened bread to remind you, unleavened bread ought to remind you that I got you out of Israel so quick, you didn't even have time to let the dough rise. You had to eat unleavened bread, bread that didn't have yeast in it. You had to eat flat bread. Listen, you didn't have time to make no jiffy cornbread. You had to have some hot water cornbread because we fitting to get up out of there. And I want you every year to be reminded of that. Now, what are you doing? What kind of rituals do you and your family have? So it could be something as simple as a family reunion. That, okay, in our normal rhythm, we're going to get together and remember God's goodness to our family and stay connected and all this kind of stuff. It could be something as simple as on your birthday or your birthday month. In my case, birthday month, because on my birthday, I'm laying up hollering. But in your birthday month, you can say, you know what? I'm going to reconnect with this person. I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to reassess. So here's what I do every year. I go back through all my end of life planning stuff and make sure everything is in order so that when I die, not if, but when I die, okay, here's everything. It's in my safe. I got it on my phone. I was telling one of my children the other day, okay, now here's everything in my phone right here. When I die, if something happens, just press this, and here's all the plans. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You see what I'm saying? That's what I do on an annual basis to remind myself I ain't going to be here all the time. Do you see? They had rituals that reminded them of the goodness of God. Rituals and routines. What kind of rituals do you have to remind you? When I was growing up, there used to be a show called Little House on the Prairie. Is that what it was called? And at the end of every show, that little family had a ritual where they say good night to everybody. There's a gang of them. Good night, so-and-so. Good night, so good night, John Boy, or something like that. They had their little ritual. My dad said when he was growing up, his father used to get up, he had 14 kids, used to get all of them together, and he prayed for them one by one. Ritual. Watch this. Watch how that thing served him. Ritual. My dad was the youngest. My dad said he'd be so tired because he'd be the last one out of 14. Out of 14. He'd be on his knees. He'd be like, could this prayer ever end? Because you got to go through 14 before we get down to him. And when he got to my dad, he would always pray for dad. And Lord, raise up godly friends for Junior. My daddy is gone. He used to pray that prayer for me. I'm still praying that prayer for my children and grandchildren. That ritual served my family. And it's yet serving the family. So let me close by pointing this out. You need to get a routine as it relates to how you're using your time. Get in rhythm with God. You need a Sabbath. You can't work all the time. You say, well, I need the money. God can give you more if you'll get in rhythm with him than you can get running yourself into a rut. Get in rhythm with God as it relates to your time, as it relates to your sleep. If your sleep routine isn't serving you right now, switch up the routine. Okay, what am I doing? Am I eating too close to bed? Am I watching a screen too close to the time to whatever? Do I journal before I go to bed? Switch up the routine. Say, well, I'm not getting enough sleep. Okay, well, maybe you got into a rut. Assess that. Where did I start today? You need to periodically assess and reset your routine to make sure it's serving you. Say, well, okay, I'm going to try to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Or I'm going to try to stretch. I'm having trouble sleeping. Well, maybe it's something somatic. Maybe it's something with your body. So how about trying to stretch, and relax. Stretch before you go to bed. Turn the TV off. Maybe you need to listen to a certain type of music before you go to bed because your mind is running, and you need to bring your blood pressure as well as just your thoughts, corral them. I dare you to try to read the Bible. Listen, make the devil help you go to sleep. Say, well, I'm going to read the Bible. Guess what? I promise you the devil will start making you sleep. You say, wait a minute, I'm trying to read the Bible. You make that joker work for you sometime. You see what I'm saying? All I'm trying to say is you got to get in rhythm. And if your current routine isn't serving you, switch up the routine. You say, well, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm going to get my buddy to help me. I used to have this routine of taking a reading day. I'm getting back to this. We have a world-class library here in Rockford now. If you haven't been to the Rockford Library, you're missing a treat. Go up there. Man, and they got a reading room in there. I went the other day. I said, now why don't I do this? Why is this not routine for me? I need to get back in the routine of having a reading day, at least a couple of times a month, where I'm not studying for a sermon. I'm just reading for the pure delight of reading. I'm just sitting there reading and relaxing my mind so that I can get in rhythm. What about the routines for your relationships? One of the routines you need to get into is getting back to church. You need to be in service with the saints on a regular basis. Hebrews chapter 10, what is that? Verse 24, 25, talks about the fact, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as is the habit of some. Let me read it straight from the scripture. Well, actually, verse 24 says, let us consider how to stimulate or provoke one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our assembling together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, all the more you see the day drawing near. Now watch this. If you don't get nothing else, at least get this one. If you get in rhythm, listen, your rhythm and your routine is impacting other people. When you get in rhythm with worship, you say, well, I ain't getting nothing out of it. You ain't supposed to, listen, you're supposed to put something in it. He says, don't forsake the assembling of ourselves together. Why? Because we need to encourage one another. And all the more as you see the day drawing near. What does that mean? You need to be in worship as a testament and as a witness and as an encouragement to somebody else. And when you're out of rhythm, We ain't seen you since last second Sunday or whatever. Okay, now we're poorer. We're not as refreshed. We're not as rejuvenated because we're missing you. We're missing your voice in the chorus. We're missing your presence in the pew. We're missing what you bring to the table. Worship ought to be a feast. Worship ought to be a family reunion where everybody is bringing their contribution in order to honor the one who made it all possible, God. And when you don't bring your dish, we just sitting up eating chicken. Ain't nobody got no potato salad? Well, she ain't here. Well, what? How we eating? We ain't got no potato salad. Well, because you forsake the assembly and you didn't come, and because you got out of routine now you let that routine turn into a rut. Now you got into a rut of not coming to church. Now we're all the poorer. But when you get into your routine, it blesses other people. Let me give you one last thing. Thank you for your patience. So here's what I want you to do, children. I want you to reflect. Here's your assignment. I want you to reflect on the season that you're in. Like when I say season, I'm like, are you in school or getting ready to start back school? Are you an empty nester? Are you just starting out with a new relationship? Did you get a new job? Are you having to take care of a sick loved one? What season are you in right now in your life? And are the routines that you are currently engaged in, are they serving you in this season? I'm not talking about is the routine good? I'm talking about is that routine serving you in this season? So in this season, you say, well, I get, I normally get 7 hours of sleep, and that's good. But in this season, because you got so much going on, maybe you need 7.5. Maybe you need 8 because you got too much going on with you right now. In this season, you say, well, I walk every day. Well, in this season, maybe you need to walk and lift some weights because you need to get that stress off of you. When in this season, perfect example. So I was sick for 2 weeks, so I had to eat yogurt and oatmeal and this, that, and that. I keep looking at the scale. I lost weight, but it wasn't, how can I say this? I lost some muscle mass. So in this season, I have to bump up the protein. I said, well, man, I got to go back to the gym, but I need to change my eating thing because my weight pattern was going down at a slope that was a little bit too steep. So now I have to assess, okay, now where am I right now? Okay, well, I just came off of a sickness and I was having to take all this types of medication that I don't like to take. So now I have to reset my routine. Okay, I got to bump up the protein. I have to get a little more exercise than what I was normally getting because I lost some muscle mass. And my goal ain't to be walking around, Mr. Olympia. My goal is, as I age, to make sure that I have enough strength and balance and flexibility that I don't fall and hurt myself. Last thing I'll say is, I had too much to say. Let me give you one last one. I'm gonna pick up on this next week because I didn't get all the links in. Here's the last thing I'll say. I need you to get accountability. I need you to pull together a team. We're getting ready to start a 30-day challenge here in September. And in order to do it, everybody needs to get an accountability team, accountability partner, preferably a team, but at least a battle buddy, at least somebody else to help you. The way I'm breaking through on this little thing, I'm working with my sleep. I don't have it all the way down. I didn't sleep well the other night. Slept well last night, but I'm still sort of hitting and missing with my sleep. But the way that I've broken out of the rut is I told some 2 key partners, my little personal trainer and my best friend, I said, man, look, I need you to check in on me at 9:30 to make sure that I'm shutting this thing down. I told my trainer, man, I'm struggling with this. She said, well, every now and then, she don't do it all the time, but every now and then she'll check in and say, how you sleeping? See, that accountability, along with the technology, is helping me to get out of the rut. I want you to pray about the accountability that you have in the season that you're in. And we're going to pick up on this
next week, I still got another page of my personal reflections. Children, I'm not telling you what I've mastered. I'm telling you what I'm working through, and I want you to work through it with me. Well, we're looking forward to a great day of worship. If you're not already getting ready for church, you still got time. Get up and get ready. Let's go. Either here or wherever you normally go. Get to the worship assembly, because that routine of worship is not just helping you, it's helping somebody else. I love you, but God loves you most, and we'll catch up with you later.